head into the game. We do have a Button Bashers versus coL.Black on their first game being Blades Edge Arena.
All right, now we see Blades Edge Arena. How do you think this is going to play out?
Now, one of the big things that you always look at playing against these Beast Cleaves on these two-tiered maps, you jump off the bridge, it's a huge amount of mitigated damage because all those pets need to run all the way around. Now, the big thing is when they get down there, it's going to be pretty tough. You have to do another lap and jump off again, but it still is a form of mitigation that can be huge in those clutch moments.
It's true. So as you can take a look on your screen, we are going to be following Button Bashers, and especially here and out of the start. They are choosing to play Alliance because there's no threat of fears on this team. And we've talked about players being have access to an account full of 80 pre-mades so they can swap between Horde and Alliance when they need to.
Our first series live from Orlando, Game 1, Button Bashers versus coL.Black. And there you see it, the notorious early wolves from Flex as they're putting a little bit of damage into Orange Marmalade, but there's the opener from Heron onto Flex. A little bit of damage going through, but nothing too crazy yet. Bloodlust finally coming out, and it looks like they're actually going to try to put some damage onto number 1. But Heron dropping a little low, taking some damage, and number 1 drops down below 10k HP very quickly, 6k. Flex is coming down, putting damage in very early pain suppression. They're just going to stick on him through it, down below 6k, and wow, they're just going to ride him through pain suppression, 3,000 HP, getting so low, 2,600, down goes number 1, start to finish. The Beast Cleave is going to blow up number 1.
I mean, if you look at your screen right now, look at all those cooldowns that he used for that right there. Desperate Prayer, Power Infusion, Pain Suppression, everything. He used everything he could, and they killed him straight through it.
And that did not look anything like the matches that we saw before, where Flex usually taking enough damage where they could mitigate him and keep him off of his target, but really Twix doing an incredible amount of damage. I mean, you see the damage breakdown now, 46,000 for Twix, and he was basically all number 1 the entire time. They did control Flex for a little bit there in the beginning, but he was able to finally get down to him.
Yeah, and now we have, I mean, look at the damage numbers, like we were saying. Twix just doing a massive amount of damage in that round.
All right, they will be queuing up in just a moment as neither of these teams can change too much. You're only allowed to change your comps after the 2nd, 4th, and 6th map. So we're going to go right back into it. This time it's going to be Dalaran Arena. We'll give these players a few minutes to get in there and get things set up. But once again, we're in another 2-tiered map. Now, Dalaran does have that little lip with the ramp on both sides and the boxes, which could prove to be pretty clutch, especially if number 1 is going to try to get away from Twix and get some LOS.
And we've talked to this team before of coL.Black, and they said that this is their 2nd favorite map, I do believe, after Ring of Valor, of course.
All right, let's head into this game. Dalaran Arena, Game 2 between Button Bashers and coL.Black.
All right, now this time we're going to have to follow Twix since he was really the guy that made things happen last round. Flex was under a lot of pressure from Heron, lots of stuns coming out, mitigating a lot of his damage. So we'll have to see if Twix can be the same, put out the same amount of pressure in this round also.
And now the big thing is when you're playing against that BM Hunter, Heron and Orange can't do a lot about stopping Twix damage. All they have is that dismantle really while he has Bestial Wrath up.
It's very true. I mean, they almost have to ignore him at the start of the match. LOS will be their only saving factor in this round.
And really the thing is getting Flex to the target. If they're able to do that, that's where we keep saying Flex connects, because that's generally when somebody goes down.
Now, we talked about not having a fear on this team, but look at the selection of Fear Ward. They are anticipating the spamming of purges onto Orange Marmalade.
And here we go, the Wolves are heading in, but there's the freeze from Orange Marmalade stopping that, but they're immediately going to break out and on number 1 once again. And now Flex kind of kiting away to the other side, but he is going to be open on by here, and there's a cheap shot, but still not a lot of damage. Twix is caught into a poly. He's going to sit through that for a little bit. CS onto toes. Flex inside that kidney shot. Shamanistic Rage has been used.
And there's that BM we were looking for, and now Twix is right on to number 1, who's down to half already. Pain suppression, PI, I mean, everything.
He's having to use every defensive cooldown he has, and he's running around the boxes. And you see Twix just sticking with him, and now number 1's going to cut a few laps, but once Flex gets back on him, things are going to get bad. There's the wing clip to make sure he can't go anywhere. HOJ, down goes number 1. Same story once again. Flex getting it a little low in the process, but nowhere near death. And just like that, what we expect out of this team, quick games, number 1 dies. This is going to make it 2-0 for coL.Black. But look at this. toe's in a little bit of trouble before Orange Marmalade goes down in here and will leave.
Yeah, toe's knew that he really has to put out as much healing as he can while they're dumping as much damage as they can into number one. That's why we did see that early bubble from toe's. What can you do as Button Basher to change this up? Training Flex hasn't worked 2 rounds in a row.
Now look at this damage breakdown. 62k from Twix, 14,000 from Flex. The big thing here is it looks like they're going to have to make some changes. After that Beast of Wrath does go down, the only way number one's going to get some breathing room is if they can actually get something on him. Maybe put pressure on a Twix, keep him from just chasing number one the entire game.
Now, as a RMP, would you go for broke? Tell your double DPS to go for the healer, or and then leave the 2 DPS open? I mean, what can you do at this point?
But the big thing is, even if they make toe's bubble very early, there's no way they're going to get an MD. If number one even attempted to channel MD, I guarantee you these matches would be even quicker. Now, this is after the second game, so they will have a little bit of time to change up their comps, but both of these teams are very confident in what they are running.
I mean, we haven't seen much other than these 2 comps out of these teams in one of the clutch matches, basically. So I have a feeling that these guys are going to be queuing back up quickly. However, they do have that time if they need to discuss strats, swap, anything that they need to, talent points, gear, anything.
Well, let's take a quick look at the player area as you see them just standing up and they want to make sure in between each one of these rounds that they're going to talk things through, because this is what it all comes down to. Now you see Button Bashers just going to stay at their computers and talk through event, but coL.Black standing up, going to talk it through, make sure they continue on with this strong lead, because as we were talking about earlier, if they're able to 4-0 Button Bashers right here at this point, even if Button Bashers decides to make some changes the next time they meet, they're still sitting at 4-0, only needing 3 more wins to clinch a series and then that first place check.
Exactly, and that's what happened last night when in the All-Star Tournament, Team Soda Isn't Fair already facing Don't Train Me before in the double elimination bracket, so it started 4-0 in their favor, and that is when we came down to it, that last round, Don't Train Me would have had to win 6 in a row to win.
And now one of the great things, as we were talking about earlier, is GotFrag does have those armories listed. Go check out Twix's gear, and I bet you they've switched a lot of things around planning for this Button Bashers game where they know they're going to be focusing Flex this entire time. And those little tweaks here and there can really be the difference in these close games.
Of course, as a hunter, take a look at what kind of pet he uses. I remember in past tournaments when they knew that heavy plate cleave was coming, he regemmed armor pen. I mean, these players know their classes in and out.
Yeah, I even got put in whenever that happened. They did rename the worm. It had to be the worm, I guess. Can't stand that. But while we have a little bit of time, we are going to turn it back over to the Ask the Cast thread on gotfrag.com, where we do appreciate you guys asking a lot of questions. And a lot of people were happy to see Hydra at past MLG events. He's a great player. I mean, watch some of his videos that we've seen throughout time, and it's incredible to see some of the things he pulls off.
Oh, I'm a total Hydra fanboy. Completely. They actually just got picked up. I can't remember the sponsor name. I'm sure someone will tell it to me in like 2 seconds, but they did get sponsored, and I mean, Calamist, Hydra together, they're such amazing players.
Yep, and honestly, speaking of that, now that they do have that sponsor, we always hope to see players of that caliber come back to these MLG events, and Button Bashers being that prime example where I know it's tough for those guys to get out to each and every event, but when they come out, it just throws sparks into the air, because those guys, you hear them yelling, you know things are happening, but right now, not too much yelling coming out from that team. It's just number one getting focused start to finish. As
we saw in the player area when we did have that shot of him, he looked very, very frustrated, kind of not yelling at his team, but I mean, he knows something has to change for these next rounds.
So we actually do have a live question here. 106 Nick is asking, what is your personal opinion of Straight to the Top on BG9? And you actually had a comment about that.
Oh yeah, no, I was joking around. It's Arena Cast. We're very casual about it. But no, when you are a number one team like that, and you do run the amount of PvE gear and that type of comp, which exploits the fact that you have that much PvE gear, you're going to take a lot of flack no matter what. I challenge these guys. Run some PvP gear, see what happens. You know, and then at that point, you're going to not only build better strategies because you're going to have to play a longer game, better swaps. But those guys need to show up on TR.
One of the big things is I think they're great guys. Jazzy's been known him for quite a while, but I'm not ready to just throw a sponsor on them because they grabbed number 1 on BG9. You know, the real test is after the changes are made. Of course, they are coming to Prop Warriors. We'll have to see how that works out for them. But still, being the top on BG9, you still have to work for it. So props to them there. But I'm not going to say throw a sponsor on it just yet.
Oh, of course, it is. It was Dignitas. That's what it was.
All right, we do have Game 3 between coL.Black and Button Bashers is going to be played on Ruins of Lordaeron.
All right, so now Ruins of Lordaeron does have that LOS in the middle, which means that as long as number 1 can stay out of line of sight of Twix, and I mean you saw him try to kite around the box, which is a shorter distance between LOS breaks when you do have a hunter on you, and he didn't have any luck with that. What is he going to do?
And the big thing is we're going to see the same thing we always see from this team of coL.Black, and that is running over that sarcophagus, pet swinging, everything lusted, and really, I don't know this is not the map where things are really going to change for number 1. So we'll see what exactly here in Orange do go for, but like you said, maybe they will just sacrifice number 1 and try to kill Toes on Paladin. We've seen that in the past playing against Beastcleave, actually. The RMP just knowing that their priest was going to die, he pain suppresses himself and goes for that MD.
All right, so we are going to be following Orange Marmalade out of the start, and looks like they are going to hold back a lot. We do see an opener onto Flex right there with that cheap shot, but now they're starting on Orange Marmalade because number 1 is sitting in the back. This is a good idea for this team. However, now that they've closed the gap, they are going to be going straight onto number 1, who's in the starting area, already pain suppressed himself and PI, getting that quick penance up, but look, his life bar is not going up that fast.
And that entire time, Twix was dismantled, but now he's out, and you can expect once Flex does make it over there, but actually, here we go. Now we're seeing a little swap onto Twix from Heron, putting a little damage out, but Toes is still very low, has not bubbled yet. Now they're both out, and Flex is on number 1 as well, dropping down to around 15,000 HP, but there, he's going to get around the corner and LOS Twix that little bit. This could be huge as Flex is caught inside that kitty shot.
And there's that bubble that we do see. Haven't seen him master spell yet, but look at the life of Button Bashers. This is what they needed to do. The crowd control after Twix's BC Wrath dropped is what was needed.
And now we do have an Intimidator number 1. The next Beast of Wrath's going to be up soon, but Flex down to 4,000 HP, getting very low, caught inside a kidney shot. 5k HP, he's trying to pick him up. There's the bump, 622 HP, caught inside a poly.
Anything would kill him right now, and there it is.
And Button Bashers scores a kill, turns around, kills Flex, but number 1 not out of the woods yet. He's completely out of mana, but all Orange and Hero need to do is sit on top of Twix and keep him from killing number 1, and they will be able to pick up a win here.
Now you look at the swaps, and Heron, I mean, the amount of cheap shots that we saw out of here in that match, that completely changed things. What a great job of leaving number 1 always straight in the back. We've seen it on the rounds that Button Bashers has played against coL.Black in the past on Ruins of Lordaeron. They stretched the game out to force an early, to make them go onto Orange Marmalade straight from the start. And I mean, Toes was down to like 40% hit points straight away, only because of Orange Marmalade.
Now take a quick look at the damage breakdown. Heron and Orange do an incredible amount of damage, but as you said, dragging that game out that little bit really shines with this RMP, but it's always that second Bestial Wrath for this Beastcleave that gets really scary when you're playing against it. But they were just able to keep out enough pressure, and great job by number 1 making it around that corner while Flex was in a kidney shot, knowing he's going to get that full penance off.
Number 1 still putting out 10,000 damage just about, even while being focused. But I mean, huge amount of healing on himself.
So both of these teams will be queuing up in just a moment. Button Bashers able to come back and take a win there after things were looking abysmal. I mean, number 1 just could not live no matter what, and honestly didn't think Ruins of Lordaeron was going to be the place he was going to be able to do it, especially after watching that start where he had nowhere to go, because Ruins of Lordaeron was changed recently where there's no way you can go left or right inside the starting area in LOS. It's just a straight shot. Yeah,
once they close the gap, that's about it. And you know what? Heron made things happen last round, so let's watch him again, see if he can do the same thing. Watch for those stuns exactly when they're needed. We saw that right when the Bestial Wrath dropped, Twix was immediately stunned. Not only that, the dismantle during it. I mean, this rogue is playing amazing.
That was one of the big things about Ruins of Lordaeron there. Both Flex and Twix were coupled together there right at the entrance, so while putting damage into Flex, Heron had an easy time of just focus dismantling Twix there and basically giving number 1 a little bit of breathing room, but still wasn't able to pick himself up just yet. And that's what we expect from this team of Button Bashers. Don't ever count them out of a tournament.
So as you can see on your screen, it is 2-1 Complexity Black, Button Bashers. Complexity Black on the top left-hand corner of your screen, and of course Button Basher on the top right. We're following here into start. Let's see if you can get an opener. And wow, taken out immediately.
And now you see a little bit of damage going on to Flex. He's going to sit in that gouge. They just want to control damage at this point, as it's just Twix on, and now he's actually going to be on Orange Marmalade. They are going to change it up. Orange is going to have to block right away. In comes a Pinnis trying to pick him up, and now we see a swap back onto number 1. And wow, they're going to drop him down to 13,000 very quickly. HOJ on the number 1, but Orange is out of block at this point and still not topped off.
You see that Aura Mastery coming up from toes right there, because Hiran is taking a lot of damage with Hiran on his back right there. We see the deterrence to stop that damage.
And kind of a miscue there. Toes did have bubble out of that CC while the turns is up. Now Flex caught inside of a cheap shot, and Hiran just kind of waiting it out there. And now you see a blind onto Flex afterwards, and he's going to be bopped out very quickly by Toes. Now Flex is going to go right back onto Orange, who has to block again. So both blocks have been used by Orange Marmalade.
And this is what we have right here. We're talking about splitting your DPS. Hiran is on Toes right now, trying to stop any of the heals out.
And there you hear the Koreans are yelling. They're trying to put down the healer of Complexity Black. Toes is trying to kind of run to the backside of the pillar. He does have freedom, but Orange is getting very low as well. 1,000 HP on Toes. Caught in a kidney. Down goes Toes. And that is it. As you see, Twix is almost out of mana. Bestial Wrath is going to come up. Now Orange is in a little bit of trouble, but let's see if number 1 is going to be able to keep him up. Now Orange is kiting around to the backside, trying to get that evocate off, picking himself up a little bit, as Flex is not actually in this fight now, caught inside a Psychic Scream, not going to be able to shock that. So now they're going to go to put down Twix as he is caught inside that kidney shot. And
we see a counterspell onto Flex with that poly. It doesn't look like they're going to be coming back from this 2v3, but man, Toes tried to juke Hiran when he went around the corner and went back, turned around quickly, but you know, there's no way you can juke Hiran.
So after the first 2 games, Complexity Black being up 2-0, 4 games played, tied up 2-2.
Like I said, this was the most exciting matchup in WoW history of esports. These 2 teams coming together, and we get to see it again. And look at this, 2-2, after it looking completely like a one-sided landslide, and now it's 2-2.
Now look at the damage received by Orange Marmalade, 59,000, and number 1, 31,000. So you see where damage is kind of going for Complexity Black. But on the other side of things, Flex taking 21,000, Toes taking 42,000, and Twix taking 42,000. So Button Basher's putting damage everywhere. So we're going to give both of these teams a little bit of time to talk things over, maybe make some changes. We'll have to see. We're going to take a short commercial break and be right here live in Orlando for the Major League Gaming 2009 PC Circuit played on HP.
Hi. I hate my phone. What do I do? This is crazy.
Let's run a free upgrade check. See if you're due for a new smartphone.
Don't I need to go to my carrier store for that?
No, you don't have to. We sell phones and plans on all the major networks.
Okay, well, is time travel possible?
Yes, I am from the future.
Phones, plans, and advice from thousands of people eager to help.
I'm a man. And I smell like a man. But sometimes I like to smell like a different smelling man. Point is, men need a variety of scents. So Old Spice makes a variety of scents, but I don't use them.
Because I'm a woman.
Just kidding. I'm not a woman. I use all of them. Because I'm a man.
I'm Dr. Love. This is Dr. Pepper Cherry. It has a kiss of cherry flavor. This devilish elixir has a kiss of cherry.
Dad, it's not kiss. It's kiss of cherry. It's amazingly smooth. Be smooth.
Dr. Pepper Cherry is amazingly smooth. Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Do you want to be at the top of your game? Compete and be the top dog on GameBattles.com. If you've got the skills, you can be the top of the leaderboards in Halo 3, Gears of War, FIFA 09, Rainbow Six Vegas 2, and Call of Duty 4. Fear claimed the top dog spot in Rainbow Six Vegas 2. On their way to the top, they only dropped 3 games. To find out the winners for the other games or for more information on how to become the next ballpark top dog, head on over to GameBattles.com/topdog.
Got the gun.
The ridiculously long-lasting gun. New Stride Uber Bubble.
I'm a man. And I smell like a man. But sometimes I like to smell like a different smelling man. Point is, men need a variety of scents.
So Old Spice makes a variety of scents, but I don't use them.
Because I'm a woman.
Just kidding. I'm not a woman. I use all of them. Because I'm a man.
Do you want to be at the top of your game? Compete and be the top dog on GameBattles.com. If you've got the skills, you can be the top of the leaderboards in Halo 3, Gears of War, FIFA 09, Rainbow Six Vegas 2, and Call of Duty 4. Type Z stormed their way to the top of the Gears of War ladder by winning 60 matches. With such a strong showing, they are definitely this game's top dogs. To find out the winners for the other games or for more information on how to become the next ballpark top dog, head on over to GameBattles.com/topdog.
Got the gun.
The ridiculously long-lasting gun. New Stride Uber Bubble.
Would you one time let me be myself so I can shine with my own light? Let me be myself. Please, will you one time let me be myself so I can shine with my own light? Let me be myself for a while, if you don't mind. Let me be myself.
I'm Dr. Love. This is Dr. Pepper Cherry. It has a kiss of cherry flavor. This devilish elixir has a kiss of cherry.
It's not kiss. It's kiss of cherry. It's amazingly smooth. Be smooth.
Dr. Pepper Cherry is amazingly smooth.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Welcome back to the 2009 Major League Gaming PC circuit played on HP live from Orlando. I'm Keith Igo Trahan, joined by Jared V.O. Colston, and we are right in the middle of an exciting series between Button Bashers and coL.Black.
Right now it is 2-2, as you can see the score on your screen, and we are going to be going into Blade's Edge Arena, which is the first round that Button Bashers dropped to coL.Black this morning. So, I mean, a rematch on the same map that they lost, this is tough. And not only that, we do have a few changes. As you can see, once we get an in-game camera, you guys will be able to see it at home. And look at this. A lot of people at home have been calling for it. They want to see that Prot Warrior action in a tournament, and not only in the All-Star tournament yesterday, which we saw Flex running that Prot Warrior. This is for the money.
And now, big shout out to JP out there, who is giving us a little bit of information that we do miss at the commentating desk, and he's letting us know exactly what's going on. And they were going to switch to Horde, but they were locked in as an alliance, and that's one thing that you have to do, is once you lock in what you're going to run, you have to run it. So we are going to have Prot Warrior, BM Hunter, Paladin versus RMP. And now one thing to note is they are alliance, so no Will Forsaken, and they will have Intimidating Shout on the side of coL.Black.
And that's going to be a huge deciding factor in this match now that they are locked into that alliance, RMP. You know, Fear Ward is on to #1 right now. They don't really have a Purge, which is good for number one, but I mean, when his rogue and his mage are caught in that intim, things could be very bad.
And now here we go. Button Basher's going to hang back just a little bit.
Oh, and he gets here and gets shouted out by the Prot Warrior of Flex.
And now the damage is starting. They're going to be going on to here and dropping down to 12,000 very quickly. War Stomps and plenty of stunts. And now you see it. Flex is going to stay up front and center on that Prot Warrior. They are going to open. I mean, there's a cheap shot followed by a dismantle, but he is not dropping below 20,000 HP.
There we go. Now he's getting right back onto Hiran, and there's that Intim we were talking about.
Now here,
rather.
Yeah, and here it's dropping down about 16,000 HP. So a shield wall has been used by Flex in this moment. And now you see here just taking a lot of damage. And now remember, when those evasions run out, it's going to be a tough go here and pick back up above 10,000 HP. But look at Toes. Toes in a very bad place. Going to have to bubble. Expected MD. There it is. Toes is out of his bubble and caught in a fear, sitting at 8,000 HP. But Hiran, oh wow, just getting stun locked. And now you see the pain suppression used on top of Hiran, sitting around 5,300 HP. Now Toes is trying to pick himself up, and Flex finally caught into a poly. Cleanses are coming out, and now you see a Spell Reflect coming up as he's trying to block some CC as he wants to get back onto Hiran.
As you can see, Toes doing a great job of using that LOS appropriately, and Hiran trying to find his target and also trying to stay out of line of sight of Twix, but it's not working very well.
Now Hiran still hovering around 10,000 HP, using Cloak of Shadows, trying to get out of there. 3,000 HP. Oh wow, getting picked up. Great healing by number one, but still very low. But look at Toes, he caught inside of Kitty, down below 4,000 HP, 1,600 HP. Down goes Toes, but Hiran in an HOJ, 2K HP. Orange Marmalade is sheeped. He's going to block it off. Prot Warrior BM Hunter versus Mage Priest.
Now, number one right now is going to be using that Hymn of Hope right there and probably going to try to get some ticks off of Drink. But look, Orange Marmalade has that the hypothermia debuff, not able to block again. I think he's used only one of them so far.
So now it's going to be a tough go if Orange Marmalade can just control both of this DPS and just try to slowly but surely do this, as both Flex and Twix will have no heals.
And you see Orange Marmalade standing right in Twix's face as Twix is forced to melee. You see the Intim on him. And, oh, there we go, the disengaged, able to toss a lot of damage out right now. But look at Flex, down to half right now.
And number one, down to 1,000 HP, almost gets pieced by a Prot Warrior. And now you see Flex caught inside that Deep Freeze. Ice Lance is coming in. Wow, there's that last stand to pick him up. And Orange goes down, number one, 3,000 HP, and there it goes. coL.Black is able to clean it up with that double DPS of Prot Warrior BM Hunter. So, in the fifth game, comes down to the wire. coL.Black comes out on top. That'll make it 3-2.
Season 5 gear. And look at this damage that he put out, 101,000 damage. It was a long game, but that isn't even counting the absorbs of number one from that Power Word Shield. 101,000.
He outdamaged both Orange and Hiran. And he's a tank. All right. So these guys will be going right back into it for Game 6 momentarily. And there you see it, the much talked about Prot Warriors. Now we have one at MLG. And Flex would be the guy to do it. He's always that guy, isn't he?
Of course. Running the DK first and PhD, and then Enhanced Shaman and Beast Cleave. And now, of course, he's running that Prot Warrior. I think he likes people to hate him. Maybe he feeds off that. That's how he's so good.
And now JP giving us a little fill out there. And Orange was trying to switch some gear up at the last minute, but the match had already started. And he's standing behind Twix and him and saying Twix's hands are shaking. I mean, this is intense because you can pretty much, this is redemption right here for coL.Black. If they win this right here, you can expect them just to want to continue that momentum through. And this is a huge series.
Well, it's good that Button Bashers did pick up some rounds on them, however, because if they do end up facing each other again, you know, the series still stands.
You're already counting out Button Bashers here, Prot Warrior or not. This is still the team of Button Bashers.
Oh no, totally not counting them out. I'm saying I'm glad they picked up some rounds, so they're not going to go into it 4-0.
So we'll have to see if these guys can figure it out. Now you're taking a look at coL.Black. Closest to you, that's Toes in the middle. Flex down on the end is Twix. And now these guys making a little change. I mean, we've seen them from tournament to tournament make some comp changes, but now they're switching it up halfway through. Working for them so far, but still very close game.
Yeah, this is rough, and I know talking to these the Korean players, they do not like Prot Warriors whatsoever.
And now you're taking a shot of the Button Bashers team. Down on your left side of the screen is number 1. In the middle, Orange Marmalade, and on the right, Heron.
JP, you know, giving us insights straight from the players themselves, talking about Twix's hands were shaking that last match. I mean, it came down to that 2-2, and it was very important that they keep track of both players.
Well, always in these type of situations, it's play to win, and obviously coL.Black feels like they're going to be stronger off running that Prop Warrior instead of the Enhancement Shaman. And still, such a close game last time. I mean, it was so close, but that last stand at the end there, just giving him enough HP to go over and finish off number 1 was huge.
It really was. And of course, you know, these staying with the same comps, but I did hear a lot of gear changes going on. Don't want to say anything quite yet because coL.Black surely can hear me.
And now JP's kind of letting us know what those changes are, and you can kind of see it on your screen. And one of the big things is Heron knows that he's going to be focused, and it's all about when he has to use evasions and when he runs out of those. Things are going to get serious quick, and he's just going to get. I mean, come on, a Prop Warrior stun lock is almost as bad as a Rogue's.
It is, and I mean, if you are a Rogue, getting stun locked by a Prop Warrior like that, not only that, the damage was huge. We saw number 1 DPSing Flex by himself, but it wasn't working at all.
So here we go, going into Game 6 between coL.Black and Button Bashers, playing on Ruins of Lordaeron, coming down to the wire. coL.Black on match point right now. And now you see Heron going to kind of hang back a little bit. And now we see a little bit of damage actually going on in toes. They're going to try to force that early bubble, it looks like. But in comes Flex, going to try to get off Heron. And Heron drops down to nothing almost instantly. There's that HOJ having to come out right away. Heron down to 5,000 HP still, 100 HP. Small Hook's coming in. There's an intimidating shout. And finally, number 1's able to pick him up. That was so close already.
Wow, that Fear Ward saved Heron so much right there. Number 1 was able to keep healing through that intimidating shout right there. Heron still the focus of damage. Nothing going on for damage-wise onto coL.Black's. Heron at half right now with that aim shot up.
And now you see it, Master's Call was used onto Flex, so Flex is able to stick to whatever he wants. And look at Heron. Heron just gets domed, and there it is once again. The blind afterwards, but it wasn't in time. And a late bop just to make sure he gets back into the fight. And Heron is just getting dominated by Flex.
It's so tough at this point to play against a Prop Warrior as an RMP. I mean, Heron couldn't do anything straight from the start. You look at he did exactly what he needed to do. He landed the sap onto Flex, which forced him to Berserker Rage out of it. But he got stunned on the opposite side of the sarcophagus in the center, forced number 1 to come deep into the fight. That intimidating shout, had there not been a Fear Ward onto number 1, it would have been over instantly.
And now, actually, JP was letting us know before that Heron was wearing 700 Resil in that fight, and Orange as well went to about 815 Resilience. So they're trying to, get their gear to the point where they can, make it through this damage and actually get some heals through. But that's just not going to happen. And now you're
talking about stun lock. This stun lock right here.
The one thing that stands out, the highest damage done in the entire game was by Flex with 4,440.
Yeah, and I mean, you look. Everyone was putting out damage that game, of course, but Heron, I mean, look at the amount of stopping pressure this team has. I mean, you've got the HOJ, which stunned him out of line of sight of his healer. You have the 15 stuns that a Prop Warrior has to keep him in place, and that's what they did. Heron did not move most of that match.
And that'll do it. That's going to be 4-2 coL.Black over Button Bashers. So redemption is theirs after that defeat in Anaheim. And coming up next, it's not over yet. We have plenty more action today, but first a quick commercial break here live from Orlando for the Major League Gaming 2009 PC circuit played on HP.